How's it going, everyone? I'm back again on the podcast today, and I'm joined by Lize Ehlers. Today she'll be sharing her story with us, and I'm very excited. I hope some of you are as well, because I think she's inspired a lot of people here in Namibia as well. So let's hear about that. Without further ado, Lize Ehlers, please introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Lize.
Yes.
Lize Ehlers. I actually have a very long surname. Ehlers von und zu Zandhagen. So I just stick to Ehlers because if people have to say von und zu Zandhagen, they're gonna mess it up. I have faith in people, but my name is tricky.
There's a lot happening there.
It's a lot happening, my dear. It's many cultures. It's the things. I'm from the south of the country. I always, praise Mariental as a very dry but very full of potential place, and that's where I'm from. And I know a lot of Namibian creatives are from the south. Mariental. Sarah Ibis.
It's the best place for oranges in Namibia.
Oranges, grapes, I don't know, but I love that dry, beautiful place with the biggest dam in the country. Okay. The Hadap Dam.
Yeah, perfect. So tell me, Lize.
Yes, Ignatious, yes.
Yes. What's your story? How do you end up here in Windhoek now? This whole transition here, from where you start to here. What's your story?
My story is, I fell in love with my husband. We're married 16 years, and we have 4 children, and moving to Windhoek to be with him, not necessarily to be with him, but I was chasing my dreams as well,
Being your husband.
forever and a day. I wanted to do poetry. I started with spoken word already 2 decades ago, and then I went into singing, starting Song Night, which was the only live platform in the country that gave a free stage to upcoming emerging artists paired with a professional band. That was the edge. When you can be an amateur supported by professionals, that's how you grow. And I did that for 12 years, and eventually just decided let me refocus my life around my career and raising my family, and that's how I am in Kaigams and doing the things that need to be done.
That's good. And I understand you're associated with Drag Night Namibia as well.
Yes, after I kind of not ended Song Night, but I faded it into an agency instead of an online platform or a physical platform. I then not co-founded, but I'm the co-CEO of Drag Night Namibia, together with Rodelio Lewis, aka Miss Mavis Dash, and it's been the roller coaster of my life.
What happens there? I've never been to one.
You have to attend if you're open to the drag scene and you understand that you get to be kind of the most colorful, the most unapologetic, the most authentic version of yourself. You can just be loud and proud and creative. That's drag. It's like life just pulled up 5,000%. And people lip sync, people do the splits, people pole dance, people do somersaults. I mean, through Drag Night, I became DJ Lize Ehlers. I've been a DJ now for 3 years, and it's been the ride of my life because I'm the resident DJ at Drag Night Namibia.
Okay, that's an interesting story because I've never been there. I think maybe somewhere along the line I would definitely come, but me personally, I'm more interested in how things work in the sense of I like money. I like understanding things business-wise. So in the sense of from a business perspective, how have you guys made it work, and what are some challenges you guys have faced with bringing Drag Night to life?
Definitely a myriad of challenges, Ignatious, because we're in a very conservative country. A lot of people do not understand how some people can be more honest with themselves and a bit more truthful with what they like to dress up as or how they would like to identify. And as a result, we are very vigilant as an organization, as a company. And we started in sort of just pre-COVID, and it was quite a ride, on Independence 2021, and We just decided with the 3 founding queens, as well as from the House of Legacy, Alaska Legacy, and Gift Aqua Dance, who is now Poison White. We put a show together that pulled such a niche crowd, people couldn't stay away. And that's our recipe. If your product is so good, people will come. Doesn't matter if it's underground, if it's where, people will show up because the show is so good, the performances are so well curated, the recipe is so tight that yes, it was incredibly difficult financially at the beginning because performing for 20 people during COVID was heartbreaking. But at the same time, I think when the foundation is so strong, it just built the building by itself. And then we also obviously we appeal to a lot of sponsors like Jägermeister and Positive Vibes, which is an organization that really does a lot of amazing work, and they help us run the show. But obviously we live from ticket sales, so it's in Namibia you're kind of performing for the same faces all the time. You constantly have to reinvent yourself, and I think just the caliber of performances keeps pulling a new demographic of tourists, ambassadors, high-end people.
That's wild.
You will not believe who you find in the audience at drag night.
Imagine you met all your business partners at a drag night. That's quite a story, isn't it?
I think it's that feeling of wow, everything is so well put together and yummy. If you're not there, where are you?
Yeah, so tell me about the performers, like when you're doing drag night. Does it necessarily have to be does it necessarily have to be a homosexual people? Or is it like when you're doing drag night, it's like anyone that just is open enough to dress in a different gender from there? I really don't understand.
You don't understand
really
sort of the
So please enlighten me.
So drag night, for those who have never been to drag night and who's never heard of drag is basically performance art where you dress up as an incredible yummy character. Somebody who is you have to be yummy, my dear. It has to be delicious, because if it's not delicious, how do people relate to it? It can be ugly, but it must still be delicious. It can be beautiful, must be delicious. So you do not have to be a homosexual to be a drag queen. You do not have to be gay to attend drag night. I'm not gay. I am a very outspoken ally. I have won awards for being an ally. I don't know why, because I don't need the awards. I just need people to be more vocal with their celebrity status and say, I am for every person in this country who is doing something with their life, who's working an honest job, who is an equal voter, who is paying their tax. Do you understand? I just feel that allies need to be more outspoken, and if you have 6 or 7 or 20 million people following you, you could use your voice. So that's the thing. Drag artists, they put on the wigs, they put on the makeup, they lip sync, they dance. They're basically performers in drag. And then for myself, like allies, we also have ally performers. So when you see somebody performing on stage and they're not necessarily in drag, most probably they're an ally, which means I support you, I stand up for you, I will speak out for you and speak up for you. So it's incredibly important for allies to be involved in the drag scene of Namibia.
Okay, so my understanding from what you just said is drag is basically just a theatrical performance like any other, like how people would play music and just happen to be dressing fabulously and yummy, like you said.
Exactly.
So basically it's a theatrical performance where you can come and enjoy yourself. And
like RuPaul Charles said, everyone is in drag. You're in drag right now. It's just a very chilled, sort of very comfortable, chic drag. I'm in my 70s drag at the moment, but drag is literally performance art, and people don't necessarily have to perform, but as a persona, as a drag persona, you dress up in that kit because that transforms you into a version of yourself that you absolutely adore, a version of yourself where you channel confidence, where nobody's words can harm you. People can call you crazy and the worst things possible, but it's like your drag is your armor. And that is a lot how many of our drag queens have described their drag experience.
What was your first drag experience?
I literally dress like the most fashionable version of myself, and I'm in drag, and nobody can touch me, and nobody can come and tell me nada when I'm spinning my decks.
So it's like a persona.
It's like a persona, yeah.
Okay, mine is a businessman.
baby, that's what you're channeling.
Yeah, of course. And just to understand a little bit more about you, how was it growing up in Marinto? Like, what was your childhood like, and what are some principles that you also have learned from your history that have led you to where you are?
Definitely, my father and his brother married my mother and her sister, which means two brothers married two sisters. Both of them had 7 children.
That's a lot.
They both built their own houses with their own hands. My father built our house with his own 2 hands, and so did my uncle. That is something that was visually so integral in how I live my life, is that I build everything in my life from scratch. I'm a very committed person. I take discipline and hard work very seriously, and I am also a person of my word. If I make a mistake, I communicate very, very fast, and I apologize very quickly, because people do make mistakes. But in general, I think my youth, living with very hardworking people who were always loud and full of music, and my mother always sang, my father always did comedy. Although he was a builder, there was always laughter around him. With my mother, she was a teacher, but there was always music around her. And I think where my sort of leadership skills developed as a community leader, because that's what I am first, is when my mother became bedridden sick, I literally studied nursing. Just, almost how you study things without studying them. I just went to the hospital, did some job shadowing with some nurses. YouTube wasn't a thing back then. Guys, I'm as old as stone.
Wow.
No, I'm not. Read a lot of books. I was an avid reader, and I took care of my mother for a decade. I was her bedside nurse, and eventually, when I decided to marry Hendrik, I did not only pack my life up, I packed my mother with, and I moved to Windhoek. Only that with our house, I had to put her into frail care, because I couldn't take care of her with all the stairs. So I think, having described that, you understand what kind of person I am. I take things very seriously. I just don't take myself very seriously, but I take life very seriously.
Oh my God.
And I think that was instilled by my 2 sets of parents.
What do you mean you don't take yourself seriously?
I take my work very seriously. I take my family very seriously. But if I start taking myself too seriously, in terms of, obviously I respect myself. Obviously I've created this entire journey through showing up and hard work and understanding who I am. But if I start throwing my ego around too much, I see things don't work. I have to be quite light about my life. Otherwise, I instantly feel negative and strange. And that's why I say I don't take myself too seriously.
Okay. I want to ask you a question. It has nothing to do with what we're doing here.
I'm waiting for it.
If you could take your heart out and put it in front of you, what would it say?
My heart. My heart would most probably have a ventriloquist voice and say, "Family first." Family first.
Wow.
No, family.
What the music, your heart would be dancing.
My heart would be like, doing a shuffle.
I see. Now, well, speaking on love, because I recently read a quote. It was a speech, and this guy said, "Never let an issue to be solved become more important than a person to be loved." And wow, that was, I don't know, like, it made me think a lot. So now I want to know from you, what are some things you've learned being in a relationship, having kids? What are some things that you've learned about showing love to people that you think you do quite well?
The thing is, I just recovered from being a serial people pleaser.
Oh, so not.
So I equated love with me wanting to do something for you. Like if you said, Lize, drop and give me 20 push-ups because then I will just adore you, I would do it.
Oh my God.
So I realized that I was a serial people pleaser because you know the 5 languages of love. My language of love is an act of service. I would cook you, cameraman, a meal that you will never forget in your life because I'm a really good cook.
Cameraman loves you already.
I had to become a really good cook because I was a TV chef, but
wow.
I would literally cook Mr. Cameraman the meal of his life if he needed that from me. And I just realized that sometimes I have to have more boundaries. I was in a place of my life, I think the first decade of my career, you know, you meet a lot of people, you work with a lot of people, you get to know yourself deeply through trial and error. And if somebody would ask me something, I would just, you know, try and get it to them or send them money or do this or cook a meal or, you know, always show up. And I realized that is not sustainable. Like I need to have boundaries, and that's the biggest lesson of love that I've learned in my 37 years on planet Earth, is that I need to start with myself, because if you keep pouring and pouring and pouring, there will be nothing left to pour. And my husband is a big mirror for me, because he's also a person who does acts of service. He's like a reciprocator. I think that's why we work so well, but at the same time we're very different. So he's the one who kept saying, "Brah, you cannot go to that show, you need to stay in bed, you need to heal, you need to rest." And I've learned to listen to him, you know. They say that people who love each other or who are in a relationship, they start looking like each other, sounding like each other, doing that's me and my husband.
Intertwined.
My dear. So to answer your question, what I've learned about love is that identify your language of love. Is it words of affirmation? Is it gifts? Is it acts of service? Is it, what's the other two?
I don't know. Up until now, I didn't even know there were love languages. So.
There's
physical touch.
Physical touch, big one for me. And the last one, Solange? Sis, come through.
We don't know.
I love it.
Okay, see all of them again.
So it's words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of service.
Words of affirmation.
I started with words of affirmation. There's one more.
Acts of service? I don't know. Let's stick with what we have. Communication. Wow.
That one. Right? Like how?
But if I were to think about it, I think I would require all of them. I want all of them.
A lot of people want all of them all the time. But if you look at how, if somebody you really love, what is the first thing you do to affirm their love? Is it words of affirmation? Is it a gift? Like
I'm more of an act of service.
Exactly.
Like I want to see things.
Yeah.
Like
you wanna,
like you said you like. You said you want forgiveness. Now show me.
Exactly.
You know?
So acts of service like that. You wanna materialize it in a hug or in a.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing things when people say things. So like when I see things, then I'm like, wow.
So So I think we all need to identify what is our love language, and mine is definitely acts of service. I really see it as when somebody does something for me that, you know, it's their time, it's your effort, you put thought into it. That's for me hook, line, and sinker.
That's true. That's so true. Like my favorite. Okay, now let's. It's not acts of service, but it's a gift. The best gift I got that I have up until today was like a marble that I got from this. How old is she? She's like 7, 8 year old. She's a daughter. She's a daughter of a friend from my parents.
Yes.
And we were playing. I was in Germany at their house. We were playing, and then she's like, here's a gift for you. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember I got so happy because,
Yes.
I don't know, there's something just so genuine about like kids, the way they just express themselves, and it was so nice. And I keep it now in my wallet, this marble, because just to teach me that little, the genuineness of what she expressed.
Yes.
Because I was there, she enjoyed having me there as a guest at their house, and therefore she gave me a gift for being there, and it's now the best gift of my life. So
and there you just proved that, the smallest thing, but it was just that moment as well, and the fact that she was a child, and the authenticity and innocence of a child, it just cemented something like that was a core memory created for you, and that's something I absolutely love, is to create core memories with my kids, with my husband, with the dogs. It's like it's just like when you said, when you take your heart out, what's the first thing? It was family. It's
That's
all good
lovely,
and fine for me to be like well on earth, but I don't want to spend my time alone. I want to have a good time alone, but I enjoy my time with my nucleus family, and as well as my chosen family.
No, that's good. That's lovely. So you would say your family comes first for you any day?
Yeah. I have taken many bullets for the family. Oh my word.
And would you say you as a parent yourself, being a parent, what are some things that you would like to instill in your children, things that you think parents should be doing for their children as well, if they want to raise good people in general?
Oh, 100%. My first thing is lead by example. I know that sounds like a goody two-shoe. Lead by example. Like, I can't tell my kid, you don't drink one day if I'm drunk every day. I don't believe in do what I say. I believe in do what I do. So what I do is I admit when I've made a mistake constantly, so that my kids know this is not my usual behavior. I've instilled with my husband, obviously, a lot of discipline and appreciation for good things, like liquor breakfast, family time, self-discipline, self-love, identify what you like. I've taught my kids how to save money. They have bank cards at their young ages, and I was just like, know what you like and know what you don't like, and you can only do that if you identify and live, actually, but if you're just watching from the sidelines, you won't know what you like. If you actually experience things, you can decide, this is for me, this is not for me, and follow your gut and live with integrity. I think that is what as a parent I'm most proud of, is my kids have integrity. Like, if you see something wrong is happening, you need to talk about it, you need to share it, because that can save somebody's life.
Okay. I just thought of something where when you're talking, I used to struggle with this a lot with my mom when I was younger. So she would be like, if I do something like really bad, then she'd be like, futek, and then she'd be like, in my language you'd say imboemone. It means you're a human dog. and then I would say
what? Imboemone?
Imboemunu. Imboemunu, yes.
Yeah.
And then I would say you too, and then I start running.
Yes.
When I think about it, it was so funny. But when I think even deeper, the only reason I said it is because she said it.
Exactly.
So I'd be like, fine, let me say it. But I knew the moment I say it, I'm in trouble, so I run. Then I'll come back like in the middle of the night. So now when you're saying it, I just thought of it and like, that's something I would also want to work on as well. Like, what I do reflects on my kids. Like now, of course, we're in a very much better space, and we speak and we talk about these things. But back then it was really funny.
I mean, most probably it was also said in like a light-heartedness or whatever. I don't know your mom, but I hope it was in like a jokey joke.
I knew my fires back then. I was a troublesome kid. So,
nice.
And now you've spoken also about integrity as well. Would you say it's more important to do things right, or the question I had, is it more important to do things right, or is it more important to progress yourself? It's like, what's more important to you, doing things right or sometimes breaking the rules a little bit, making a bit of leeway to progress yourself forward?
I think you can progress yourself forward in the right ways. You can.
Yeah.
You don't have to steal and kill and badmouth.
Wait. The question was actually, is it more important to do things right or more important to be relevant?
Oof.
Yeah.
Do things right and then you will be relevant if you're doing the right thing.
Oh my God.
Do things right.
Oh my
I think
God.
is more important than being relevant.
Yeah.
And you can be relevant through doing things right.
Solange is agreeing with you there. She's like, word. Yeah.
Thank you, Solange.
No, but do you definitely...
I found a sister in the industry. I don't know about y'all, but we are going to do something about it.
No, that's actually, you make a good point there, because if you think about it, there are a lot of people that happen to be in a position where they're not as relevant as some are. Like if you think about, for example, the people that build the houses we live in, or people that are the cleaners that we have, it's what they're doing, building homes for us, the builders, the construction workers, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
They happen not to have relevance, but they have the choice to decide, what kind of bricks am I putting on this house?
Exactly.
Am I putting the bricks that would damage this house, or am I putting the bricks, when the storm comes, people can store. So doing things right, I think, is very important.
I mean, as I mentioned, my father was a builder. He built things with us, and that house stands today without a crack, without a floppy foundation, without a leaking roof. If you do things right, it lasts for generations.
Yeah.
Instead of being relevant and now sensationalizing. I mean, I'm living for the Kendrick Drake feud at the moment, but what happens now? By the way, I'm Team Kendrick.
Yeah.
But how does that affect everybody involved? I mean, if you think about Drake's son now, the relevancy and the woo, do I have a sister? And then somebody tells you, no, I just fed him that line so that he can rap about it later. The relevancy for me takes away from the genius of the rapping skills, the writing skills, the composing. So I think my answers will always go back to do things right. And you know what is the most attractive thing to me in a man or a woman is how they treat waiters, how they treat. If my husband would have been mean to anybody, I would just divorce him.
Oh my God.
No, because it's so sexy when somebody with money or power or whatever treats somebody who they can't necessarily initially benefit from with respect and kindness and that loveliness when you're lovely to a person versus that dismissiveness of when you don't need a person. That to me is what makes somebody super hot. You can have a wart right here on your nose. You'll still be hot if you are treating somebody with kindness and loveliness.
All right, nice. Okay. Now then, tell us a little bit about you now being in a marriage for a long time. How do you see, so a lot of guys complain about the girls these days and all that. Well,
wait. What is the girls these days?
Wait.
What is
you get all these, I guess, some people say some girls, it's not me. The internet says some girls are now entitled these days, but I think the way I see things is because obviously I don't know if you, some men, usually I see them as leaders, right? And I think wherever the leader goes, the followers follow. So I mean, if the men are not as good, the women won't be as good. If the women aren't as good, the men won't be as good. So I don't know. Tell me from your side, obviously I think there are a lot of good people. Sometimes the people you meet are just a reflection of what you're putting. But just to hear from your side, what do you think makes a good female partner, in the sense of especially finances is a very big topic. Guys are like, I don't want an overspender, all that kind of stuff, living within your means. Or would you say, tell me, because I think you get a lot of ambitious guys as well that are trying to build themselves. And I personally don't actually have a problem with a woman that likes to spend. The only problem I have is a woman that likes to spend when the money to spend is not there. living within the means. Whereas because I understand in life, nothing can be expected. You know, you don't know how things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have it, sometimes you might not have it.
Yeah.
And through life experience, you learn to have it more.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand from your side, what do you think makes also for a good partner, as to the ladies listening out there, so they can help.
I think
help
this
these men
applies
out.
to both. This doesn't have to be for the ladies. This has to be for when you're in a relationship, when you're in a partnership.
Yeah.
Because I've only been married to this one man,
Yeah.
I only can speak from my experience. I can't speak for other people. I don't know how you run your house.
Yeah.
I don't know who brings in the moolah. I don't know how much you share.
Yeah.
I just know that my husband and myself, we share everything.
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah.
Like, I gig a lot, I perform a lot, I'm an international professional,
Yeah.
but at the same time, my husband took out landmines.
Yeah.
He's basically almost 30 years older than I am. And he still has to be sexy, and he still has to be good to me. You can't come here like Father Christmas and be like what. So what we do is we talk about everything. And if it's about spending, we also talk about it, because if we can't share the financial burden, how are we gonna enjoy the good times equally without one pulling the weight more than the other? And obviously not any household is the same like the other. Maybe there's a breadwinner, maybe there's both breadwinners, maybe you understand? So for me, people need to be very open-minded and communicative towards their partner, because if you don't marry your best friend, you have done something strange in my mind, because your partner needs to be your best friend. You need to be able to go with the good, the bad, the ugly, the nasty. You need to be able to go to your partner and confide and have so much trust to be like, I made a mistake. I bought a pair of Jimmy Choos for $12,000. I don't know what happened, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to work extra hard and put that 12K back, because we need that money for our children. So make your mistake or whatever, but if it's a repeated mistake, it's a choice. Any mistake that's repeated is a choice. So if you're gonna spend all your personal finances this weekend, but your bills need to be paid next weekend, and you go to your partner and you're like, listen, how do you guys communicate about it? Are you used to your husband paying your bills, or are you used to you paying your bills? Are you used to sharing it? It's a very personal thing, I think. And the only answer I have is that you need to communicate with your partner about everything. So that it can be easy, so that you don't have to remember your lies.
Could you ever see yourself being a housewife?
No, I almost said something terrible.
Say it.
No. It's just that housewives have so much work to do. They have such a, especially if you don't like have assistants or like, somebody who does the washing or whatever. That work is insane on top of, doing other work. So I think people need to change their language around being a housewife, being a career-driven woman, being a pensioner. There's always going to be stuff to do. And if your house is clean, your food is cooked, your laundry is done, you still get good loving at night, you guys do things together, you go out, you do things with the kids, then you just need to count your blessings. But whatever role your partner is playing, that's an important role. And people need to respect each other's roles, whether, like my husband is a pensioner now, and people are like, yo, Lize, you're the one running around doing the Lord's work. How is the balance? And the balance is that he takes care of the kids. When I'm on stage, a very present parent needs to be at home to make sure that the children are safe. And that dynamic, so I just think people need to absolutely respect roles and what every person brings to a marriage or a relationship or a business or a company.
Okay, interesting. Sounds like you have a very good relationship going, but I would also like to know what has been like a challenging moment in your life that you've experienced that you'd say, I never saw this coming. It might have affected your marriage, it might have affected your relationship with your kids, whatever it is. is there something you would like to share that you
Oh,
you've
yeah.
experienced?
Oh my gosh. I suffer from nightmare disease because
What's that?
nightmare disease is like you can't have a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
I always dream very bad dreams. Like I have nightmare disease. So like 99% of a night's sleep I would just be dreaming very graphic horror films. And I hate horror films. I don't watch horror films.
Yeah.
But I think it's my grief because I lost both my parents, right? Like I told you, I was taking care of my mother, and then I moved to Windhoek, and then both my father and my mother passed away. And I took so long to deal with my grief that I developed nightmare disease. And it's this, I didn't self-diagnose, you know, it's not stuff that I'm just throwing out there. It's been a lifelong thing for me to look at my grief as something that is part of my life. It's not this thing that's ruining my life anymore. It's part of my life. I can grieve my parents all they want because they were absolutely phenomenal. And they had all the mistakes in the world, but they were phenomenal to me and my 6 siblings. So I think grieving my mother the most, you know, especially when you take care of somebody, you share everything, you're close. I think that was a difficult time for my marriage, for me being a mother. It's tough to be a mother when you just want to cry all the time, you know, when you don't want to make sense of things. But I think when people, especially people who have been sick for a long time, it's okay to let them rest, you know, it's okay to let them go. And that took me, 10 years? It took me 10 years to be able to let my parents go. Because you'll find people, they're like, oh my God, my grandmother died of cancer. She was in a horrible situation, but I just want my grandmother back. And then what? She must just suffer like that? No, she needs to rest, you know. It really took me a long time to make peace with death. Because as a colored person coming from that colored community, everything is just, you know, everything has to be intense or light. It can't be somewhere in the middle. So for me, death and grief has been very intense. So now I'm slowly calming down. Now I'm becoming a much better parent, a much better wife, because I'm more present. I'm not just grieving my dead parents, you know? And I think that's something I can be honest about, and it's something I also want to bring into my work, is getting through grief and to allow yourself to go through that process.
Wow. Thank
Grief.
you for sharing that.
I don't know where I went, but I almost cried.
Oh my God. That was quite something. It was. I'm glad you're there in that part of your journey.
Thank you.
And I think I, for one, can because the thing of like losing someone, I think before you never know, before you experience it, you think it's something that happens 3 years later, you're fine. End of story.
Yeah.
But it's a scar that can be on your heart for the rest of your life. You know, you can have it for 50 years. You can, because like you said now, your parents were great to you.
Yeah.
And it's something that was just ripped out of your life like that, and it's something you perhaps maybe can't find somewhere else, and it's something that was just a very big important part of your life, and it's.
I always,
gone.
you know, I had grandparents. My children have never experienced the reality of a grandparent. I don't have parents, or my husband doesn't have parents where you can just like drop the kids. Like you're going to your granny. I want to say that I have never had the opportunity to drop my kids off at their grandparents. You know, my kids don't have a lot of things that other kids take for granted, because there's grannies, there's and I was just like, I feel robbed. I was very resentful towards life, towards God. I was like, bro, you need to step up for me. I've been a good person. Like, you know, I even stepped out of the Catholic Church because it was just too much for me. I mean, I prayed so much. I took my mother so much to the nuns. And you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Catholicism, it's very rigid. There's like a very tight way of being a Catholic. And if you're not that, then you are wrong. So I had to get also, to grips with where I stand with religion, what I practice, how I'm dealing with resentment towards, like my kids not having grandparents. But then I was like, they have lots of uncles and aunts. They have lots of different people in their lives who are genuine and real and show love, and that's to me what is important now. But again, it didn't happen overnight.
And they still have you.
They have me. They have the big kahuna that they must take care of.
Wow, no, that's lovely. That's lovely. I'm glad you feel that way. And it sounds very tough. And I want to know what have you what are some steps you've taken to help you, kind of heal from that?
I think just being very honest with myself, honest with my expectations of myself. I'm even so comfortable as I sit here. I was like, should I cancel the interview? Because, no, it's because I'm in a place where I started gymming 3 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Because I was known as the sexy actress / poet, singer, and then I gained all this weight because of very personal things, and now I'm losing the weight again, but it's taking so much hard work. And sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, nah, bro, you just have to accept yourself today, even if it's not your best look, even if it's the worst wig in the world. You show up, you do your thing. And I was like, you really need thick skin to be a person, right? You need thick skin to not allow somebody to judge you, but you must first not judge yourself. So it took a lot of self-reflection. It took a lot of listening to people who know what they're talking about. And it took a lot of, you need to read a lot of books to understand who you are and who you're simply not. And I've come to know myself. And I know I will come to a place where I absolutely love myself one day. I'm still on this journey of self-love, because if you don't like yourself, a lot of things can go wrong. But if you start loving yourself and you start appreciating yourself, and you're like, I actually bring something to the table, things start going right. So instead of my former self, I was the queen of catastrophizing. Do you know catastrophizing?
No.
You're like,
oh wait,
the robot will be red. My shoe's gonna break. My tooth will fall out. All those things will happen. But now I'm listening to people like Karen Powell who manifest money. I'm saying mantras like, things are consciously and positively working out for me. Things are constantly working out for me. And money comes to me in mysterious ways,
multiple
in constant
income
yes.
I don't know why.
But it's and sure as SHIT. Can I swear on your show? It's happening. It's happening, So I'm starting to do a little bit more positive affirmations, but don't lose track of the ugly bits, because it's those ugly bits that make you who you are. And I'm trying to make peace with my ugly bits. And it's tough, because all of us toch love beauty, all of us love being in shape, all of us love being mentally stable, but sometimes you're just not, and you're just fighting with all the demons, and then you're like, I need a moment. So that's where I am. I'm there.
That's very lovely. That's very lovely. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I like asking people this question.
I see myself in Italy. I'm on Duolingo. I'm one of a girl. Lots of wine, lots of cheese. A young lake there in front of me. I see myself just thriving. I see my kids all grown up. Hubby needs to be right there next to me and just be like, let's go sailing, let's go do this, let's go walk down that little village path. That's what I want.
Have you ever gone sailing?
Yes, I've sailed with my husband.
It's nice,
I drowned his phone in a waterproof bag by putting the coffee inside the waterproof bag with his phone.
Why?
So that it doesn't fall into the sea and drown. Like, make it make sense.
The mathematics.
Make it make sense that you put a phone in a waterproof bag with coffee, and then the coffee falls out and drowns the phone anyway.
Was it like liquid coffee or?
Yes. A flask of coffee.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that I can do things like that.
Yeah. The episode was going well up until now. I'm like, what? That's crazy.
It's just sometimes I do dumb things. No, we sailed from Walfish Bay to Swakopmund, and my husband was actually a wonderful catamaran sailor and a Hobie cat sailor, and we actually capsized, and then I couldn't lift my body out of the water, and then he just said shark, and I was out. My biceps, triceps, everything worked.
Working. All you need is a
you
shark.
just need adrenaline.
No, that's perfect. I sailed, I think the first time I sailed, I was seasick for 3 days. So I didn't really enjoy it.
You didn't,
after a few hours, and then but it was nice views. It was rainy, it was stormy. So, I was looking at all the views with my head resting on the deck and all that.
I'm sorry that you were. But there's a good pill. I actually take that pill daily because I have Meniere's disease where my head spins constantly. And Stugaron.
Oh, that's why you put the coffee in there.
Exactly. Because I'm a baller. Stugaron. You should take it before you go onto any yacht, any seasickness, vibes, car sickness. If you take Stugaron, you'll be fine.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents of advice for you on a medical front.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
I'll think about it. Sounds.
It's just a seasickness tablet.
I'm just kidding. So I'll ask you the last question.
Sure.
And then we will let you go. It's been lovely, but now we want to know if you could share something with the world right now. Maybe something that you wish you could change in the world. Something that you wish everyone could do, or everyone would do. The last time we once had a girl that was like, I wish the whole world was kind. Obviously, we laughed at her because that's never gonna happen. But maybe she was also on Stugarol. I'm just joking. What is it called?
Stugarol. Yes.
Oh, I said it right.
I love that what you just said.
Okay. Yeah, I hope so. So tell us, what would you like to share with the world?
I'm a realist. I dream a lot, but I'm a realist. I do think we need to start from baby time to learn how to grow food. Everyone, food. Grow food, fruit.
Yes.
If you don't need 2 cents, you can be. Nah, bro, this is my wish. I want everybody to be able to grow their own food.
We're laughing, but this is actually a serious thing.
It's if I can't stand it when people tell me they haven't eaten for 3 days. It kills me every time. And I'm not Oprah Winfrey. I can't send everybody a blue wallet every day. So I'm just like, why aren't we teaching our kids how to grow food? Because I don't care if you only have 1 pair of pants to wear, but if you have food in your stomach, there's dignity. I need people to grow food. I need our country to teach people how to at least have food and water every day, because that is not okay. I don't care if a war is going on or if there's peace. People need to be able to have food. And that's my wish. I need everybody to be able to either grow food or get food daily. And I need people to suffer less. It's I don't know, are you an empath?
An empath.
You feel other people's inner. Yes and no?
Sometimes, maybe more like with people that I'm closer to, like when I really can't help them, it bothers me. But like other people, I'm just like, hey, you get what you give. If you're not doing anything, it's your fault.
Yeah.
I'm more
No,
like
that's
that.
also true.
But when it's now like someone that I'm close
That you're
to,
close to.
the more I
Yeah.
know someone, the more I
Yeah.
just wanna help them
Yeah.
and do everything for them. I
Yeah.
guess acts of service, I guess.
Yes, exactly. For me, it's just, I'm an empath, so I hurt when I see bad things on TV. I hurt, and that's part of where I dream very graphic, very terrible dreams. And I think it's me as an empath trying to process all the rubbish that's happening in the world. And there's too much negative stuff happening in the world. We really need to do better, be better, and just stop fussing about the ridiculous things and focus on the real problem, which is the fact that people are not eating daily, the fact that there's too much unemployment. I can't stomach it. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we all need to do better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, but I know that we must do it.
Yeah, perfect. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We need to do better. That's where we're going to end our episode for today. We need to do better. You know, and thank you very much, Lize Ehlers, for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Nice having you. I have a lot of respect for you right now, knowing you a little bit. Yeah, that's what I always say to all my guests, and then they do.
I genuinely thought that was like a warm, fuzzy feeling.
I'm serious. I haven't said it to any of my guests. So
Thank you
you're
very
the first
much.
one, so,
Thank you. Yeah, I spotted you at that
that's
one
what I always
cafe,
say to all my guests.
and I saw somebody with a lot of spark who wants to do something important, and
Thank you.
sharing stories is important.
Yeah. So you should take care of yourself,
Thank
take
you.
care of your heart, take care of everything in your life, and be good.
Do better, Lisa.
Yes,
Don't give me
do
a
better.
Drew Barrymore moment. I'm not gonna become Mamala.
Yeah.
That was the worst interview in the history of bad interviews.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay, let's just cut right here. Okay, just stop. Just stop.